Recording in progress.
What?
This is the worst. There we go. Sorry about that. I muted everyone because I don't know who it was. Could have been me. I think we have everyone in the waiting room. I'm sure there will be people popping in after, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So if this is your first, welcome. If you are joining us for the second, third, or fourth time, welcome back to the 2021 Maryland Teen Reconnect Conference. This session is Teen Self-Expression and Teen Activism. If you meant to be in mental health, let us know. We'll get you that link. But I recommend sticking around because it's going to be a great session. Today, we have three amazing presenters with us. We have Jay Travato, a young adult librarian from Washington County Free Library. We have Meg Fowler, public services librarian from Calvert Library, and Tessa Gonnell. Did I say your last name right? Is it Gonnell or Gonnell?
Gonnell is what I say, but Gonnell isn't exactly wrong. It's just not
oh, well, I'm going to say what you say. So Tessa Gonnell, a teen specialist from Frederick County Public Libraries. My name is Isaiah West, and I am your cruise director today. We are in Zoom, which I'm sure we are all super familiar with. But nonetheless, I'm going to share a few quick tips and tricks. In the bottom left-hand corner, you have your option to mute and stop your video. We do ask that you keep yourself muted when you are not speaking. As the hosts, we can also mute you if we hear background noise, which has happened, not a big deal. We just mute and move along. We also understand that not everyone can share their video all day long, but if you are able to share your video, we love to see the faces. I think it's South Carolina, smiling faces, beautiful places. So if you would like to share, we would love to see. If you are calling in via the phone, which I don't think we have anyone in this session, but if you are, you can use *6 to mute and unmute yourself. We do ask that you use the chat to ask questions or raise your hand during our Q&A session only for today's presentation. To raise your hand, you select the reactions button at the bottom of your screen or press *9 if you are calling in from your phone. If you do not have a reactions button at the bottom of your screen, it is possible that you are using the web version of Zoom, or you do not have the most recent Zoom update, which is fine. Feel free to type that question in chat. If you'd like to unmute yourself, just type, I have a question, but I don't have a raise hand option in chat, and we'll let you unmute at that point. In the top right-hand corner, you can choose between speaker and gallery view. As we share our screens and slides, you will probably not have that option as much. You want to see the slides, but as soon as we move out of that, if you prefer to see the whole gallery or just to speaking, feel free to toggle back and forth between the two. If at any point you're having tech issues, please let us know in the chat and we will try to help you out as soon as possible. There are 4 of us from the planning committee here, and we are here to assist. So while we are getting everything set up and started, stop sharing my screen. No, I'm not. I jumped ahead of myself. I've only done this 3 times today. Why should I change anything? While we're getting started, please fill out the attendance sheet that Tia is sharing in the chat. We also ask that you say hello in the chat with your name and your library. After the session, we will send CE forms, an evaluation, and a recording of this session via email to all of those that have registered. Please wait until probably next week before getting those. Not sure we'll be able to turn that around in 48 hours. So today will be part presentation and part discussion, which means there will be plenty of time for questions at the end. Sorry, I keep seeing all these people coming into the room. So today will be part presentation, part discussion, which means there's plenty of time for questions at the end. We do ask that you hold your questions until all of the presentations are finished. However, if you're worried that you're going to forget a question or you just have a burning question that needs to get out right now, you can type that in chat and we will answer that later in the session. When it is time for the Q&A portion of our session, you can raise your hand via Zoom or type your question in chat. We do just ask that if you raise your hand, you wait to be called on to make sure that everyone's questions get asked. We're going to try our best to ask them in the order that they are received. Now, before we pass it on to our presenters, we are going to go over a few agreements to make sure that everyone's on the same page for our discussions. We follow the ropes agreements, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, especially if this is not your first session today. We ask that everyone please respect yourself and respect others. Be open. Ouchies and oops are okay. So if something makes you feel uncomfortable, that's an ouchie, that's okay. We are here to kind of be okay with that level of discomfort. If it's blatant, let one of us know that's on the committee in chat, and we will do our best to rectify that. And oops is okay too. If you say something wrong, you're allowed to say oops. We ask that you participate and pass, which means that we do want everyone to participate. We also want to be sure that we're leaving space for others to participate. Escuchar is Spanish for listen. It's pretty self-explanatory. We ask that everyone be open to the experience being provided, and that everyone remember that this is both a sensitive and a safe space. So now, without further ado, I am going to finally stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pass it over to Tessa.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen here and start my presentation. All right. And started on the wrong page. Here we go. Get back. There we go. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Tessa Gonnell. I'm a teen specialist at Seaver Arts Branch in Frederick County. I've been working with teens for about 4 years, and for about that same amount of time, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons. So it didn't take too long for me to start combining those two things as D&D was becoming more popular with teens. And I might seem like a funny topic to talk about for self-expression, but I have found that it's one of the most self-expressive things I see our teens do at my library. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I think probably most of you know a little bit about what Dungeons and Dragons is, but just a quick overview. Essentially, it's a game that you play where you take on the role of a character that you create, and you kind of co-create a story with somebody who is the dungeon master or game master who is kind of guiding the characters, and then the individual players acting as their characters, making decisions as their characters, and speaking as their characters, and having various adventures. So one thing about D&D that's a little bit different than most other games is you're really doing a lot of improvisation and storytelling. So I started running D&D games for teens at our library about 3 years ago, after I had been playing myself for about a year before that, and started sort of doing short games, one-shot games for teens in the library. started to get some interest going, and overall have had a pretty successful experience with that. In July of last year, after having been completely shut down for a few months with the pandemic, we were able to get our Discord server up and running. And I started running the games there on Discord as well. And I think the interesting thing is, being able to play in person is really great and lets you connect in unique ways, but it's been really great to have something that has so much connection between teens, even online, and that sort of extra layer of anonymity of being online has maybe even helped teens become like more explorative and self-expressive, I think. So one of the aspects of D&D that I find is most self-expression is the teens' ability to create their own character. Sometimes they'll even use a character design that I have pre-made and just set up all the basics for them, and then they can still on top of that decide, what is my character like? What do they want? What are they afraid of? Do they have fears? Do they have quirks? And you have to really build out this personality around the character you're creating. Because your character is not you. They might have things in common with you, but they're a little bit different. You have to decide enough about them that you can act as them in the game that you're playing. The cool thing is, even if you have difficulty doing this on your own, inevitably the interactions that you have with the game master who's leading things and the other players, you're going to have to react to them at least. And so you're going to end up building that character's personality and how they react as you play. So it's a very collaborative exploration and storytelling type of game. And I feel like the more you go, the more you play and interact, the more deep the teens, the players tend to go in deciding things about their character, building their identities and stories. This screen right here just shows a collection of some of the different characters and players that I've had in some of my games. Some teens like make a different character all the time and are always trying something new. Some teens, stick with one character and dive deeper into that. It's just been a lot of fun to see all the different things that they get up to. So one thing that I have sort of zoned in on that I have really been impressed with, and have also had my own personal experience playing with friends, but seen it in my teen groups, which has been really great, is their ability to create a character who has potentially a different gender than themselves, different pronouns, different sexuality, and be able to explore that in a space that's not judged, and as a way to explore their own identity without the pressure of having to commit themselves to any labels, to any sort of coming out publicly. This is a safe space where you are portraying another character, and yet you are acting as that character. So in a sense, it is your alter ego. It gives teens a really both creative and self-exploratory way to discover new things about themselves, and discover, what feels right to them and what doesn't. The nice thing about playing online also is, again, there's that layer of anonymity. We usually play on Discord without video on, so it's a great way for teens to sort of break out of their normal societal expectations that they have in their everyday life and be able to explore in new ways. We also use safety tools to make sure that we're creating a safe space. Things like the X card, if anybody comes into something that's an uncomfortable space, to make everything, a safe zone for the teens. And I do have some resources that I think are shared out the link if anybody's interested in that. But yeah, so basically the thing that's been really great is just seeing this space be able to give teens a place to take risks without the same threats of shame and exclusion that would exist in their everyday lives. It's amazing in a game or two how much connection is built between players and characters in ways that like I just never see between teens in my library anywhere else. Like nowhere else, unless they're like a group of friends who have already come into the library and know each other. I never see as much interaction in any other program as I see in D&D. So yeah, it's been a really great form of creativity and exploration, and it also has prompted a lot of artwork that's been shared in our Discord server. So on this page is some of the artwork of different characters that have been created, and prompts like continuing conversation outside of time when we're having games, and further storytelling. So yeah, that is my little bit of teen self-expression. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Tessa. And next we're going to move on to Jay.
Okay. It says that I can't. Can you help me share my screen? I don't know if that got messed up when I had to sign off and come back on.
Yeah, sorry about that. I probably
That's all right.
Forgot to make you co-host again. There you go.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm Jay, and I would like to give you guys a walk through how we kept our core teen group, which is called the Teen Library Council, going during the pandemic. And just some different improvements that in other sessions have said this, where even when it becomes possible to meet in person like we did before the shutdown, that we would definitely continue some of these things. All right. So these are some pictures of the Teen Library Council. The Teen Library Council is a longstanding group at Washington County Free Library. It's where teens meet to give their input about what we have going on in our department, assist with special events, and plain old enjoy one another's company. And you can definitely see that in these pictures, and I have a couple more to show you. The TLC teens talk about their interests, opinions, current events, and anything else they feel like. So on the left, you see some of our teens. This is all of these pictures that I'm showing you right now are pre-pandemic. Writing for the Washingtonian blog, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. On the right, they're doing a puzzle and just kind of hanging out, also writing and fooling around on the violin. This is a special event that the Teen Library Council coordinated. It was an escape room for Halloween. This was about 3 years ago. So on the left side, you can see everybody who helped make the escape room go. They have received SSL hours for that, and each person it was a really great event. And then the right side is our Teen Connect room, decorated like a haunted laboratory or Frankenstein's laboratory. And then on the left, one night we had a Teen Library Council session where we did the nonfiction collection together. And so that's the picture of the teens doing that. On the right side, it's a advertisement of an open mic night that we had right a couple weeks before the shutdown. And that was really great. We had teens sharing poetry and singing songs, and they were having a fantastic time. This room was packed out. One of the primary things that TLC did was write for the Washingtonian blog. In the early days of the TLC, or at least as long as I've been part of it, the teens who were regulars in the group were some pretty serious writers. They wrote and then they peer edited each other's work, and their writings were queued up to be published on the blog once a week. So this is a recent writing post by one of our teens. Then suddenly most of our writers left the group, and a younger set of teens started coming to TLC. It was a lively bunch, but by and large, they were not writers. They were artists though. So we started to adapt our way of publishing, and we started to put artwork and photography on the blog. So the left side is a teen submitted artwork. The right side, a very recent photography post by one of our teen patrons. So we started to alternate the writing and the other kinds of posts on our Washingtonian blog. So this is a picture of the last in-person Teen Library Council meeting we had before the shutdown. As you can see, the group was flourishing. They were having a good time. And at this particular meeting, the teens spent the whole 2 hours dreaming up ways. And you can see Joshua on the right going through the list of ideas he had written down from the teens about how to improve life in our city, right? What things Hagerstown could do to be better. And then everything shut down. So this is the Instagram post that I put up to let everybody know that we were shutting down. And the unbearable void set in. We didn't know how our teens were doing, where they were, or how to stay connected to them. In my grief, I snuck into the library and programmed about 30 picture posts on Instagram, which was a social media outlet we had revived about a year prior. The pictures showed happier moments of YA life from the last couple of years, and we got plenty of likes on these nostalgia posts. So I just went in and spammed Instagram for those 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the shutdown, because I just didn't know how else to stay connected to the teens. But how are we going to keep the Teen Library Council going? So Anne, who worked with me here until recently, got permission to use the library's Zoom account to hold TLC meetings. And we reached out via Instagram, Facebook, and email to our TLC kids. Periodically, we invited adult guest speakers to join our Zoom meeting too. Okay, so this was the first TLC meeting we had on Zoom. I don't remember what brought it up, but we discovered that 3 out of the 5 people in the Zoom room had ukuleles. So this was a picture of everybody showing off their ukulele. And we continue to meet every week. So, and we had some guest speakers here on the lower right. That's Grace Cavalieri, the poet laureate of Maryland, who had done a couple of programs in person here with us. And so she came on our Zoom to talk to the teens. Here on the lower left, it's an author that I met when I was translating his book, Survive to Live, from Spanish to English. So he agreed to come in November for NaNoWriMo and talk about his book. And then here in the middle, this was this year, that's one of our community police officers who came into the Teen Library Council meeting to talk about personal safety. And there were a few other guest speakers that we had too. Oh, we also talked about current events, of course. Those were special conversations we had. Of course, on the left is talking about the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. On the right, the events that happened at the beginning of this year at the Capitol building. But mostly it was just showing up every week to be a bright and positive presence for our teens, a friendly chat they could look forward to. So about the blog, we continue to receive a few submissions of creative work to post on the blog, mostly through watching what our artistic teens posted on Instagram and then asking if we could publish it. So this was one of our teen artists who we followed on Instagram. And you see me as WCFL teen saying, "Oh, this is good. And can we post this on the blog?" And so usually they would say, "Sure," and tell us a title for it. And so we were keeping up with the blog through Instagram. And I started to also promote their publications of the Washingtonian blog on Instagram and Facebook. So this is a little post that I made up and telling everybody, okay, go to the Washingtonian and check out what artwork came up. And you can see this is the same artwork that our teen artist had made. During one of the professional development sessions I attended, I learned about Discord from Paolo Jassa at Enoch Pratt. Ann and I thought about it, and Discord has come up a lot today, but we weren't sure whether it would work for our teens. But the more we thought about it, we decided it was worth pursuing. So I got a book called Discord for Dummies and read it cover to cover. And it was a really great book. It's very practical, really for if you're a dummy about Discord like I was, that book will help you know what to do. I also referred to the example site that Paolo Jassa gave us access to after his presentation. The TLC kids, some of whom were already on Discord, seemed excited about the idea, and 8 to 10 kids joined immediately, with 2 experienced Discord users acting as teen moderators. And the Discord server was an immediate success. So these are our channels we have on our Discord server. And a lot of these, I'm going to show you in the next slide, there are going to be some yellow stars appearing. Those were all the ones that the teens either created outright or asked us to create. So none of those channels did we have before the teens got on there. So I had some of those, and I took my cue from Paolo Jassa's Discord on most of those, but they came on and said, "Hey, we want this channel. Hey, we want that channel." So it was definitely a teen-driven thing, and it still is. So new channels were added, emojis minted, and slowly people began to find us. Screenshots and memes started rolling in. I was amazed by how much quality interaction was going on among the teen users and with library staff. We couldn't be together in person during the pandemic, but Discord seemed to be the next best thing, and we're definitely going to keep it, forever. A few staff members and I oversee the server to make sure the community stays harmonious and respectful, but we've had virtually no problems since it was set up carefully, and we had positive relationships with the teens who founded it. Basically, in the last 10 months that we've had Discord, we've had to give 2 warnings about profanity, and everything else was fine. Like, we've had no problems on it at all. And hopefully you guys have the same experience. So not everybody who's on our server is active, but every so often long lost people stop in to say hello, just like they would if we were here in person at the library. An encouraging thing about the success of our Discord server was that it came at a time when attendance at our weekly Zoom TLC meetings had started to dwindle a little bit. Anne briefly considered discontinuing the meetings or doing them less often, but I pushed to keep meeting every week because those weekly contacts were important to the teens and to the Teen Library Council as a whole. Having the Discord also attracted new people to the Teen Library Council meetings, and we continued reaching out through Instagram and Facebook to advertise the TLC meetings and our Discord server. So the left was before we got Discord, the amount of teens who were coming. So you can see it was only 3 that week, but on the right, you can see it was a lot more once we got on Discord. Okay, and the attendance boost kept up through definitely the first half of the year and beyond that. One of the many great things about Discord is that it became very easy to find things that our teen patrons were creating to keep the Washingtonian going. So this was even more effective than Instagram because they were just posting it right on Discord, and all we had to do was say, hey, can we use this? So here, this was just last week that I asked on our Poets and Writers channel, hey, is anybody writing anything? And immediately we got a bunch of people writing back and starting to post their stuff so we could share it on the Washingtonian blog. Another avenue of self-expression was our self-care and mild vent channel, which was created by one of our teen moderators. And one of the teen moderators who was in the process of transitioning from, staying at home to going to college and becoming an adult, she would post her kind of frustrations and experiences on there. So it's sort of like a journal about becoming an adult, adulting, of course, as everybody calls it. So it took some research, patience, and perseverance, but with the help of technological tools, Zoom, Instagram, the Washingtonian blog, and Discord, we were successful in keeping the Teen Library Council going through the pandemic. The teen patrons have created a vital online community to which more teens are still being added until we all can be together again in person and rebuild the in-person teen community that we had here before the pandemic shutdown. The Teen Library Council, the Washingtonian blog, and the Discord server are places where our teen patrons feel safe and empowered to express themselves. And that is the end of my presentation. So thank you.
So
Jay,
much,
you had
Jay.
a couple of questions too in the chat.
Okay.
We're going to hold off on questions until after
right.
everyone, though.
Okay, cool.
But Meg, you're up.
All right. Thank you. And of course, this is I want to just play it. Ah, got it. Never mind. Good. All right. Hi, I'm Meg. I'm a librarian at Calvert Library. Our story is very similar to Jay's story. We also have a teen council. We call it TACOS, the Teen Library Council of Students. Our TACOS group was great for several years. We had a really good group. They came from a lot of different spots around the northern part of our county, mostly to come into our main location. And we had some folks that were in homeschooling groups, and we had some from the local schools, the county schools, but they got to a point right in the beginning of the year in 2020 where they were starting to be aging up and out. So right at the point where we were just about to shut down for the pandemic, our group had started to dwindle and the new groups hadn't really come up yet. So we were brainstorming how we were going to keep people together. And during that time and leading up to the point of the pandemic, we had quite a few programs that we were doing based on the input that we were getting from our tacos group that promoted teen expression. So we also did open mic night. We had a writing workshop where we brought in someone from the schools systems. One of the creative writing teachers came in and taught this writing workshop, which was really fun. We did have an adulting course. I heard Jay use that word. I've been told by my own teens that I'm not allowed to say that anymore. So adulting is not the term that we're allowed to. Life skills. But up until that, we did an adulting course. There was self-care, talking about how to get ready for college. We did have a book club that was teen-led. So they chose their own material, read it, and we had one teen who would volunteer to lead the discussions. One of the biggest, most fun thing that we did was every year for about 4 years in a row, we had what we called the Campfire Tales of Terror. And it happened in October, and we had a fake campfire that we set up that was basically a mass of the orange lights that flickered, and we wadded them up in the center of what looked like a campfire with rocks and sticks all around, and it looked legit. It looked great, and decorated the whole space with scary decorations. And then it darkened the room and had we made s'mores in the library in toaster ovens and told scary stories. The kids could either bring a scary story themselves, something that they'd made up, something that they pulled from the internet that they just wanted to tell a quick fun story. And we took turns. We had some games. We played werewolf. That was one of the most fun, and really just one of the most, we saw a lot from that group of self-expression. The other things that we've done, the open mics, maybe they were less successful, although the support that the teens gave each other during open mics was very inspiring and gave us a lot of excitement to do more of that in the future when we can get back together again in person. But then, of course, the pandemic happened, and originally, just like Jay, we shifted to Zoom. That initial shift that we brought the tacos into Zoom, we did a couple of different meetings during that time. It was right before school was out, so we meet with our group once a month. So we didn't have the same weekly get-togethers that others might have had, but we were once a month. And during that time, we were responding to the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, and we started a social justice book club. We got a representative who had Kevin Jackson, who helped organize a Juneteenth rally in our county, and he was there to answer questions and talk to the kids about activism. We talked about March. We talked about in a conversation with the big conversation, we talked about dismantling racism. It was a lot. And we did it for a couple of months, but we just didn't see participation with that. Our teens were going, they had a lot going on. So we did have a strong start to that, and we'd like to revisit it later. But this was something that we did as just during the shift from when we went down for the pandemic and before we jumped up onto Discord. We also, our teen team leader had Discord, that learned about Discord and doing Discord for teens, and we got permission to go ahead and set up a server. So we did. We actually use their library card to make sure that we can make sure that they are our teens and also that they are the right age. We follow the guidelines according to Discord for that. And this all of the things that we've been doing within Discord have been so helpful, so amazing. We've been able to connect with the teens in a way that we never were able to before, because when we would reach out to remind people that we had meetings coming up, that we had events happening, we were sending emails. We were trying to get a hold of people that they weren't responding, and they weren't able to, it just wasn't working out where we were actually reaching the teens that we wanted to reach. Discord helped a lot with that, because we could send out, hey, come and do this thing. We're doing it, and we're going to be gaming in 10 minutes. Come on down. So it was a lot easier to get a hold of people. It was a lot easier to connect. And it has become so amazing in terms of really seeing what they're up to, and showing the way that they can express themselves. So you can see over here on the left, we've got a bunch of different channels, and with the most popular one, I think, has been Share Your Work. So within Share Your Work, we have had a myriad of amazing artists, people talking about things that they've been doing. With this one on the left here, you can see they've got their shoes that they got a pair of Vans and then decorated them and shared the video, the Snapchat video of the decoration of their Vans. Some digital art, Lego art, Minecraft art. It just goes on and on and on. And you can see down the bottom, those down there, the bee and the boxes that they're holding up, those are a program that our last team leader had started over the summer, which was called Book Boxes. Oh, let me go back and talk about this first. Another one, a popular part of Discord has been the daily question. And the daily question, we've put things up if they haven't, but the teens actually come up with a daily question, and then they just go off on it all day long. It's been fantastic. So that's been a lot of fun too. What's on your mind, and what are you thinking, and how are you thinking? It's been a lot of fun to see what's been going on with them. And so the book boxes, the book box program, our last teen leader came up with this plan, and it was a lot of fun. It's a lot like Loot Crate or Owl Crate, where they would sign up for a subscription, and we would send that, have the boxes available to pick up. And each box included a library book that had to be returned, a free book to keep, a snack, an activity to follow the theme of whatever day it was. And then after that, they could take their box, which was set up a lot like a coloring book. It was just a line drawing of our logo, and they could decorate it. So they would take them home, decorate it, return it, then they'd go back out again. People could decorate them further and bring them back. And we just saw some of the most amazing decorations, inside and out, upside and down. They really took advantage of the book boxes, and it was a very, very popular program over the summer, one that we're hoping to repeat. We're trying to go back to in-person tacos meetings and programming. We're not quite ready yet. Right now, we're still doing hybrid, we're still doing Discord only, but we're considering shifting to hybrid in January. And we're not sure how it's going to go, but we have a new system now, which is an OWL system. So hopefully we'll be able to set that up, the 360-degree meeting camera, and be able to have Discord going as well as in-person kids for our tacos group. And so we're looking forward to doing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me pull everyone up on Spotlight. There we go. And we do have a few questions in the chat. So let me make sure I'm not missing any above this. Okay, so the first question is your teen library council county-wide?
Yes, teens from anywhere in Washington County are welcome to join the Teen Library Council.
Yes.
Okay, and our next one is for Jay. Can any teens submit to the blog or just TLC members?
Any teen can submit to the blog. The most of the posts most of the stuff that we've gotten submitted to the blog is by TLC people, but any teen in Washington County is welcome to not only submit stuff to the blog, but also to receive SSL hours for it. So we decided that we were going to give one SSL hour for every submission that was made to the Washingtonian blog. And you know, not everybody wants or needs SSL hours, but a lot of kids do. And so that's one way they can get them, especially because they're not able to volunteer in person right now.
Awesome. And I think this one is for Meg. And it's, how do you initiate or garner interest for a teen-led book club? I think that was you, right? That mentioned the teen-led book club.
Yes. So when I joined the teen team several years ago, we had a going concern. We had one young woman that was her idea, and it was her baby, and so she was the one who had been conducting that book club for at least 3 years that I was there, and then it shifted. And she had to leave and went off to college, and she handed the reins over to another young man who was also interested in doing that. And it went like that up to the pandemic. And at the point of the pandemic, when the book club went the way of the dodo, once we got back on Discord, we've gotten to the point now where we have a nice small group of the tacos. And in fact, for the past couple of months, our focus has been on how can we best serve you? And this was one thing that they asked for. They said they want to do a book club, and the question was asked, all right, well, what kind of a book club do you want? Do you guys want to pick and do these books yourselves, or do you want us to pick the books, or do you want to do a genre? Like, what do you want to do? And so we actually have two different groups meeting. We have the book club, in which one teen is picking the book, telling us what book they want to pick. We're advertising it internal to Discord and also on our calendar. And then they're going to be doing the preparation for the discussion, leading the discussion. And they do get service learning hours for that. So if you are a book club leader, you get that time as volunteer time. And they were really down for that. And then we did, within the context of our tacos meeting, I said to the people who were there, because I've got a group very similar to Jay's, I said to them, you all that are in this group need to commit that if you're asking for this, you need to participate, because if you don't show up, it's going to be one person sitting there looking at an empty room, and that is not the way we want to handle this. So are you guys willing to commit? And they said yes. So at a core, we have some kids who are saying, yes, I will do it. I will be there. And hopefully that plays out. I'm looking for that to be like a commitment that they'll keep. That's how we have been in the past and how we're rolling forward. So hopefully that teen-led discussion will be good. Oh, the other group that we have is a movie discussion group, and it works similarly to the book club, except it's genrefied. So they're getting a genre of a discussion, for instance, comedies or romance or whatever the genre is of the movie. Then they watch a movie that they want to, has to be PG-13 or less, and then they come in, and the MC of the group or the leader of the group is going to say, all right, what did you guys watch? And let's talk about what makes it a comedy, and was it successful and wasn't it successful? So it's going to be more of a watch what you want and then come in and we'll talk about it as a genre. So that'll be fun.
Awesome. Quick follow-up question to that one from Laurie. What support did you provide the teens that wanted to lead these groups?
All the support they needed was that they were getting the volunteer hours for that, which is really great. They've been looking for ways to volunteer, and they've been asking us for ways to volunteer. And so one of our main concerns this year has been to create pathways for them to get those service learning hours. They do get the hour for their participating in our tacos group. But that's once a month. So we don't have a whole lot for right now, but we're working towards making those opportunities for leadership and for service learning hours. And they were really into that. We also have just some really prolific readers, and they just want to participate and share their love of reading and books. So that's cool.
Thank you. So Sharon and Gina, I'm actually going to hold off on your question until we go to full group discussion, just because I think it opens up a door to a different part of the conversation. So let me get through these questions and then we'll come back to that discussion question. Just wanted you to know I'm not ignoring your question. So Liz asks, what is the average cost of a book box?
Oh my, I don't know the answer to that question. I think we ended up having a whole bunch of books that came in that the library purchased to give away. One of the initiatives that we had over the summer, for 2 summers in a row now, has been that we have set up distribution library stands with food distribution points over the summer at the schools. So wherever the schools were having food distribution, we set up with library tables and gave away books all summer. And we also gave out information for participating in the summer reading challenge. So those points, we had so many books and we had so much material left over that our team leader took some of that material and was using it to give away in those book boxes. And the little snacks and things like that, I swear it wasn't a lot. He was just putting together some handful of little things, but they really liked it. It was, I'll have to go back and check and see what the budget was for that, but it wasn't a big budget. It was pretty small.
Thank you. And same thing, Cheryl, I'm just gonna hold off. I'm gonna open it up for a general Discord discussion after we finish with all of the questions, because I think that's where a lot of the questions are. So Robin asks, how did you all recruit teens for your council?
In our library, a lot of teens have found Teen Library Council because they were looking for service learning hours. There's a website through the school district that said, here are some places in the community where you can get SSL hours, and we were at the top of the list. So we've gotten a lot of new teens that way. I'd probably even say that was the primary way, or if there were just kids here in the library on a Wednesday night. Now, of course, this is before the pandemic. So like before the pandemic, we would either have people looking for SSL hours who would come in and ask about the Teen Library Council, or we would just have kids who were here who became part of the Teen Library Council. And then after, like during the pandemic, it's been, new people through Discord and Instagram. So it's just the social media reach that we have. And people find our Teen Library Council on our Discord server that way. And now that the school year has started again, we've had some classes come through here, and I had little quarter sheets of paper that had a bit.ly that's like, here, type this in and you can get on a Discord server. It made it very easy for people to get in. So we've gotten probably a good 8 or 10 new kids since the school year started, just with handing them a little flyer.
Yeah, we've, for our Discord also, we do have like a system-wide TLC. I know we've had even just phone calls about volunteering, like from parents, from teens, and we'll say, hey, the only volunteering we have right now is through Discord. So
right,
check it out, join the Library Council, or there's other volunteer opportunities on Discord. So we have directed some people that way who are just reaching out to us.
I see someone asking about people can join Discord. We have a little bit of a pathway to get to Discord because we push people through registering, and then we send them the link. So they would register through our website, and then we verify that they're our teen, and then we send them the link that way. So we have an extra step in between getting people the bit.ly to get to us.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And that's something that I wish we had done. I mean, we trust the people on our server. We haven't had any problems, but we have no way of verifying how old they are. So the library card thing is a really good idea.
Okay, so we have a question for Tessa about starting a D&D. Alex has had issues with coming up with the scenarios because it takes a lot of time.
Mhm.
Do you have any resources or suggestions for people who want to start a program like this but don't have a lot of time to dedicate to prep?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally have gone sort of a lot of different routes myself. Sometimes I have created my own scenarios if I've had more time. Sometimes I have used books that have pre-made scenarios. One of my favorites is called Rolled and Told. It actually is published in a comic format, but they have like 2 different volumes that are available that your library might be interested in purchasing. You can ILL at least one of them because my library owns one of them. They have a lot of different like individual scenarios, some that are shorter, some that are longer, that are pre-made. I also recommend checking out the DMs Guild, which has a lot of, there's content on there that is available for free. There's content in there that's available to be paid, and you can sort and browse a lot of things by like the length of the adventure you want to do and things like that. I also, during the pandemic, was able to request access to like a digital toolkit from Wizards of the Coast. And I believe that they still have the ability to request it. And that gave me like full access to a lot of the digital books through D&D Beyond. So a number of those books have pre-written adventures in them. So you could definitely use those, some of them being individual short adventures, some of them being longer continuing adventures. So actually the link that Jill shared earlier, I will share it again here, the direct one, but the link that Jill shared that has the slides and various resources, I actually did put together a sheet that has some of my favorite resources. So let me just post that again real quick too, just a quick one, but should have some resources on there that are really good. The link to like doing that request, some of those other sites that I mentioned that can be really helpful and save you time. Actually, recently I have started doing more of a continuing type adventure because I've had more consistent teens coming, and I've just decided that like when new people drop in, it's fine. I'll wrap them into the story somehow, and if they're not there, it's fine. Their character was doing something else. And so that actually is a lot less prep because you can just kind of be like, what did we do last time? Okay, they might meet these people and this monster might be there or it might not. So it's like, you don't have to think of a whole new thing every time if you don't want to. But yeah, so there's some good info on that doc that I shared as well.
Thank you so much. So we're running out of time. I think our wrap-up session, which I definitely don't want to keep anyone from because we have a very special treat of hearing from specific teens about what they love about the library. But I did want to highlight a couple of things in the chat. One of them is things that aren't Discord. If people have tips for that, if you can type it really fast in the chat, that would be helpful. We have a couple of requests for reaching out to people with ways to convince administration on on moving forward with Discord. So if you have any of those, please feel free to email. And if those of you that requested that information, if you can just drop your email in chat one more time so people can reach out to you, that would be great. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight that was in chat, and I'm so sorry that we didn't have time. It was just such a robust conversation in this one. Where was it? There's lots and lots. There was a question that was answered, but I want to be sure that the answer gets highlighted, like repeated out loud, which was recruiting for TLC. Is it something that happens year round, or is it you only open for a specific amount of time? Jay answered his saying that you can always join. I don't know if that's the case for you for the other systems as well.
We're always open.
Yep, ours is not locked down in any way. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you to all the people that contributed in chat. This has been quite the session. I said that we hadn't used all the time when we got started, and shouldn't have said that because we used every minute of it. So thank you all so much for attending our sessions today. Our very last one is our wrap-up / Teen Voices session. I really hope that you can join us for that. If for some reason you cannot, our Teen Voices video and sound bites will be made available after the conference. Thank you, Jill, for putting in the last session. It is in 8 minutes, so I am going to give everyone more than 5 minutes though, so that we can take whatever breaks we need before sitting down for that one. So thank you so much, and I will see you there.